first time I took my wife hunting, we were still dating, and we went in Michigan. And I think it was like, it might have been right after Christmas, and it was maybe 5 degrees, and we sat out there for, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours, whatever she could handle. But it was like not fun. It
Yeah.
was just, it was cold, and we were dressed accordingly, but it was, she grew up skiing on ski team and whatever, and she's like, yeah, I can handle the cold. And I'm like, okay, but that's moving. We're going to be not moving, and it's a whole new ball game. Like,
Yeah.
cold when you're still is not the same. But she's kept an interest. She kept an interest through that. So I thought at that, through that must mean it's genuine. It's not just fake. So, and she's been pretty adamant about making comments about wanting to go, and it's just time. So I'm excited. I mean, I am. I don't honestly, I can imagine all the bumps in the road along the way of learning to hunt with your wife like that as a partner, but I imagine it'd be worth it. It's probably a great bonding experience. So when the two of you get out there and do something you love, I'm sure that's a great thing. JP, tell us how you feel about taking your wife out.
Well, I don't have a significant other, so I guess I didn't really think about it. But I will take both sides if we can do that. I'll send it and save it. Only because of the fact that I've had girlfriends in the past that I've taken hunting, and for example, one spring, I mean, I get so used to hunting with these guys, and it's, run and gun. I don't worry about them. I mean, they got to worry about me more than I worry about them, right? So
I don't worry about you, JP.
so anyway, so on a run and gun type situation, I'm automatically, expecting them to be in tune and you know what to do. Let's go, blah, blah, blah. Well, there was this time that there was a bird out in this field that was in a perfect spot, and we got to dome this bird. Put the dominator. I'm thinking this is easy. Just put the thing on your head, crawl out in the field, and go. But the problem is we got to get to this bird, and we're going down a fence line, and you got to do things quick. Well, she doesn't know that. So I'm just, by the end of this, I'm just bitching hardcore. Like, hurry the hell up. You don't got all day, By the time we left that, we obviously didn't kill the bird. By the time we left, I didn't even talk to her on the way home. But it made me, it makes you realize, like, there's a time and place. And that's why I say send it and save it. There's a time and place where, yes, obviously, if I had a girl that enjoyed the outdoors.
I want to take a moment before we move forward on this, and just to clarify, we've had I forget that we can easily offend people. We've had some folks commenting on videos that have been offended by things that we've said. And number one, we don't care. Number two, stop being so easily offended. But on this subject, I just want to say, obviously, there are some great female hunters. We're not saying that we're just coaching up women because they suck at hunting. It's just that the women that we know suck at hunting. There are probably women out there who are great at it. I know there are, and I don't mean to take away from that. There are a lot of instances where if I went hunting with whoever that was a female, she would probably teach me, and that's true. I'm not the end all be all. A lot of great female hunters out there. I just want to clarify on that so no one feels like we stole their Christmas.
Just angrily typing right now.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Don't be a Bucky Doe downer is what I'm trying to say.
Isn't that
All
what
right,
we're calling
guys.
this episode?
Yeah, we should.
You could say that's, our discussion, it can really go either way, though, with either getting, a youth in the sport or, older male in the sport, a buddy of yours. Like, there's just that learning curve with it. And if they haven't grown up around it, you can't expect a lot at first. You got to be able to ease them into the process. And Scott had a great example with hunting with his daughter where she wasn't in position for the shot. Like they're just not gonna learn that unless they make those mistakes on their own, you know.
Yeah.
And you can coach them as much as you want, but they just have to fail and continually get them out there, but not push them, keep them interested and wanting to learn and wanting to make those mistakes to get better. And then eventually they're going to be more successful and they're going to be showing us how to hunt.
Yeah, and I think it's not necessarily that we get mad on purpose, or it's just our hunting instincts kicking in, and we're not, we're just freaking out of like, hey, let's go, let's do this, because normally we're used to that. It's not at the end of the day.
It
we
is
could
the
care less,
instinct. It's the instinct and the
definitely.
adrenaline rush
for
that
sure.
kicks in.
I
That
think
just
for
all
me,
of a sudden nothing else matters.
Yeah.
And
yeah, a part of it is like watching somebody make a mistake, knowing that you could have gone in there and say, hey, no, do it this way, and letting them make that mistake. It's like, if you just would have fucking done it the way I said it, like to me, that's a part of it. Too,
That's
that I
happened
think I would
plenty
have
of
hard time.
times.
Yeah.
I will say one thing though. I've taken just over the years a few female hunters out hunting, turkey hunting primarily, and I would prefer to take a female hunter over a male hunter getting into the sport any day, because they do listen to what you say. If you tell them to do something,
can
they
agree.
will do it. They will
I
do it
can agree with
exactly
that.
how you do it.
I
Males
can
are
agree.
too effing stubborn.
Even
they
with my
won't-
niece and nephew, same shit. My niece listens no matter what you say. She listens. She takes criticism. My nephew is a little shit, and he'll whine and he won't listen. So I can attest to that. And I've hunted with several females, and they are a lot more apt to constructive criticism and listening and like applying what you're telling them than beginning males and younger males, for sure, at least from what I've experienced.
I've even heard that from bow shop owners, that they would prefer to coach women in archery over men because they're just way better. They listen to what you have to say in shooting the right form and everything else.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I would say some of that probably has something to do with forming bad habits. I'd say even new males who are getting into archery in this instance have probably shot before or when they were kids and developed bad habits. And the chances are more likely that a female getting into it for the first time doesn't have that background of building shitty habits. So that's probably got something to do with it. But also, they probably are more receptive. Like, no man wants to be told how to do something. They want to figure it out on their own. And I'm sure there are a lot of women that are that way too, but that's kind of a stereotypical male thing. But like, for instance, when you're talking about the issues that arise, how many of you guys, like for me, I remember the first time I was told, you're walking too damn loud. Stop making
yeah.
so much noise.
Oh yeah.
I was
Roll
I
your
was
damn
maybe like,
feet.
yes, like 7 or 8 years old, So I've got 25 years of that in my mind. Whereas someone I'm taking out for the first time has no idea. Like there's no difference between walking down the street and walking in the woods,
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of ground to make up, I think, when you're bringing someone new that you don't even realize. Like, that's such a simple concept, but if you've not been out there in that environment, it's not going to be natural to you. So
That's a good point.
yeah. And that can be a headache for a lot of people. Brendan, do you want to expand on that? I'm guessing from what you talked about that you're going to go ahead and send it on hunting with your significant other, but do you want to expand on that at all?
Yeah, I'd send it. I think the most important thing is don't force them into going. If they want to go and they're excited about going, take them. If they're done with it, if the action's slow and they want to go home, take them home. I think that's the most important thing about it. And, just knowing when to call it quits and don't push them. I mean, if they don't want to be out there, you're not doing anybody any favors. You're just going to start a fight. Take them home when they're ready to go home and just pray they see the action so they understand why we keep going back.
That's a good point.
That's a great point. And honestly, I think turkey hunting is one of the best things you can do for a new hunter. Small game or
sure.
turkey, but I would rather take a new hunter turkey hunting because it's like more of a bang for your buck. There's a good chance you could be successful, and when you are, it carries a little more weight than a rabbit or a squirrel or a fish. It's just kind of big leagues. But it does give you the opportunity to kind of wake up a little later, because you don't have to be out there right away to kill a bird. You can leave early and go get breakfast, drive around. Like it's like the perfect middle ground between whitetail and that god awful waterfowl. It's exactly what I want it to be. So I think it's a great thing for a new hunter. Go turkey hunting, try that out. There's a lot of stuff you can find, you can see when you're out in the spring. Look for sheds, find mushrooms. Like there's more going on, I think, in the springtime in the woods.
If you can get them in on a roost hunt too, like you talked about, Brennan kind of talked about, just having action, things like that. Roost, it's the reason why we get up in the morning, even though we know probably 95% of the time we're not going to kill one, is hearing the woods come alive and those birds just hammering off the roost. It just gets your heart going. And whether you're, no matter who you're introducing into the sport, if you can get them up in the morning and do that, like it's just going to hook them. And they're going to want to keep going.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did with Taylor. When she shot her first turkey, I brought her out for the roost. They were hammering, but we didn't end up killing until a little later. So, but it was a good experience for her, listening to all that and knowing where to set up off when you hear the gobbles, how close, stuff like that. So definitely a good experience for him.
I guess I should clarify.
Cool. Yeah, no, go ahead, Josh.
I was just going to say, when I talk about going out later in the day, I just mean like gray light. I don't mean like 10 a.m. I just mean you don't have to be out there at 5. You can relax a little bit. Go ahead, B.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like the first morning I went with Jamie, we were off the roost. We probably had like six toms roosted within a few hundred yards of us, and they were just going ape shit. And I just looked at her, and she's just like, mind like blown. Like, and I'm like, you and your grandpa, because she hunted with her grandpa for a few years, and I said, you and your grandpa ever hear anything like this? She's like, we never hardly heard gobbles when we went turkey hunting. She's like, this is awesome. So we didn't kill a bird off the roost, but just hearing them come to life in the morning is something that people don't forget, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's a large part of the reason I deer hunt, is being out there when the woods come alive, man. It's like, there's nothing more awesome. Watching that sunrise come up over the mountains. Oh man, it's hard to beat.
For sure.
It can suck getting up and freezing your ass and get there, but once you're there, it's always worth it.
Yeah, it can suck. It usually does suck. Getting up and freezing, realizing that you're halfway to your stand and you've got to take a shit.
Or you forget your bow.
Yeah. After you're releasing the truck.
The release, I hate that one.
Yeah. But yeah, man, there are a few things in the world that get people more fired up on the outdoors than a shock gobble. Like with my kids or wife or anyone really who is not an experienced hunter, if you go out there and you can start calling a little bit with your mouth or give an owl hoot and turkeys gobble back at you, that hits the core of anyone. That's hunter or non. They're like, that's pretty damn cool.
I think the only thing that can beat that is an elk bugle.
Yep.
If you get an elk, and I've only heard a couple ever in my life, but when you get that up in your face, it is like, holy shit.
You can feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Eastern elk. That's what we're after. These feathered bastards.